Yeah, so he's done. He's quitting the channel. Today will be his last day, so I can use the footage that we have together, but that's gonna be it. I know. I tried talking him down after the big fight, but I think he was just too far gone. I mean, look, I think I know that this was coming. It's been kind of boiling up for a while. Well, look, I mean, I'm gonna have to replace him, but I kind of feel like I knew this was coming eventually. It sucks that it's happening now. It probably really started to get bad, I guess, when we started season 4.
And it feels like home.
Holy shit! Save the good stuff for special occasions?
Complaining mostly.
Alright, let's do this. Maximum execution.
When you call my name, it's like a little prayer. I'm down on my knees. I wanna take you there. In the midnight hour, I can feel your power. Just like
It's that time again, Alex. It's time to wipe the slate clean and start fresh with a brand new Star Trek season.
Starting fresh with a brand new Star Trek season. With the end of a two-parter.
Yeah, true.
We haven't had a two-parter since the Menagerie, I don't think. And never has a separation been between seasons, which is absolutely insane to me. I'm really nervous. I'm really excited. We mentioned how season finales have been terrible, but we finally had a great one. And with the exception of the Man Trap and Amok Time, I think openers have been pretty lukewarm. I can't remember the season 3 intro of TOS, but Encounter at Farpoint and what the
Child.
The Child.
Evolution.
Yeah, it's
yeah, Amok Time really stands out from TOS as the one great one.
Mm-hmm. Was Spock's Brain the opener
Of season 3, yeah.
Oh, we love Spock's Brain.
Yeah, but it's not, an amazing episode. We just found it hilarious.
Yeah, that's right.
So we'll see what it is. Obviously, being the second half of a two-parter puts it in a completely different class. We're going to find out how that goes. But honestly, personally, I just feel like where we've arrived in TNG to where we had this whole narrative the first 3 seasons of, it not being good to apparently there's a transition to it being good. And then season 3 was this whole back and forth of, is it actually good? Is it actually better? And now I feel like that all of that's behind us, and almost like the first 3 seasons of TNG are just like the first 3 seasons of TOS, or the only 3 seasons, in the sense that it's its own thing. And now we're watching TNG. That's how it feels to me.
Gotta hope we like it, otherwise people are gonna be pissed off.
Yeah, well, we can always pivot to YouTube drama if it doesn't work.
That's true. We can always react to other people's YouTube videos complaining about other things.
Yeah, but let's hope it doesn't get there, because today is the return of Star Trek.
That's right. And you know what else it's the return of? An old hot friend of mine.
Oh!
It's been a long time. But we're starting off a new season. Let's start it off right. It's been a long time. A long time.
Just like the old days.
Just like the old days.
On Star Trek The Next Generation.
That's Majel Barrett's voice. First time ever, last time on TNG.
If you can't make the big decisions, Commander, I suggest you make room for someone who can.
Ooh, I didn't notice he jumped over it like that.
How do we do that? The main deflector dish.
It's so funny if Wesley was back in his gray uniform for some reason this season.
Shall we to
Your
Enterprise?
favorite scene?
Yeah. Come on, guys, let's go. We don't got to see the whole... Yeah, I get it. People waited 4 months or whatever when it aired. I understand. But
That's a lifetime for people back then. They probably forgot the show existed.
Mr. Worf.
Shoot him!
Fire.
And now, the conclusion.
Oh, okay. Oh! Right into it.
Oh, no credit. Okay.
Deflector power approaching maximum limits. Energy discharge in 6 seconds.
Shit.
Blows him up, he's dead. All right.
Firing, sir.
Oh.
Have we ever seen him shoot out of that before?
I'm guessing
Like
that's where,
that?
Yeah, I'm guessing that's where it's always come from, but we just don't get like a nice close-up like that.
It has prepared us for all possible courses of action. Your resistance is hopeless, number one.
we still get an intro? Okay. Okay, all right.
To boldly go where no one has gone before.
All right, let's see who made the credits, even though we already saw everyone in the, maybe Colin Meaney made the main track, hopefully.
Two things that would have been really cool if that had been Locutus's voice. And two, if it would have said Patrick Stewart as Locutus instead of Jean-Luc Picard. Ensign Wesley Crusher.
Okay.
Okay, no chief, I guess, but we got Ensign Wesley Crusher.
Hello, and welcome to TNG Season 4. Now, you may have noticed that there are no mid-roll ads anywhere on this video, and for that, you can thank our patrons.
Specifically, these three target demographic annual patrons. P. Coffee, Colin Freeman, and Jonathan. These guys are on our highest tier of Patreon and have paid for the whole year up front, getting over a month free.
Thanks to patrons like these, we can give you a whole bunch of great content.
Oh, fuck! God damn! What the fuck is this doing?
Hey, Alex, sorry.
What the fuck? Why is it?
You gotta watch where you're going, man.
Watch where I'm going?
Here, let's get this out of here. Just put that there.
Why is this so far back?
I don't know.
The other chair is right here.
I'm sorry. I didn't know you were gonna walk that far out of frame.
Jesus Christ.
Let's just give me the board. We'll just do one more. One more.
No, I'm done. That's it. It's over. We're good. See ya.
First officer's log. Stardate 4400.
Could have guessed that.
I never met anyone with more drive, determination, or more courage than Jean-Luc Picard. Commander Riker, I hereby promote you to the Field Commission of Captain. The Enterprise is your ship now.
It's Captain.
Yeah, what a sour note to open the season, you know?
Yeah, but also, like, that big cliffhanger, and then it's like, oh, it didn't work.
Riker's probably thinking, well, this was always my plan, I just wish it hadn't happened like this. Ooh, okay, so he does still have his hand. They just slip it on? Are all the Borg like that? Because, like, I've always thought that's just their hand.
Shall be Doth. Oh, tear.
How soon do we get underway, Geordi?
Still a couple of hours. Commander Shelby can fill you in.
Does Worf look even better, or is that just me?
You have a lot to learn, Commander. Almost as much as I had to learn when I came on board. A fact he reminded me of when I commented on what a pain in the neck you are.
I just love that Riker's like, look, now that I'm the captain, I have no animosity towards you. You're no longer coming for my job, so...
On screen. Admiral?
Oh, no.
Oh, don't kill the doctor!
We're attempting to withdraw and regroup. Rendezvous with fleet.
Was the whole fleet been destroyed by the Borg? Because the way he was like, we're gonna fire everything we have at him. It's like, I don't think you understand. Like, this thing's next level.
You're a little bit too optimistic there, pal.
I'm sure Captain Picard would have something meaningful and inspirational to say right now, but I could never replace Captain Picard, nor would I ever try. I'm sure our efforts in the coming battle will justify his faith in all of us. Dismissed.
Damn, Michael Piller, alright! Great scene overall.
Oh, he's going to do his first Riker maneuver in the captain's chair.
It's a bit high.
What would you do?
Oh, wow. Here we go.
Come.
Oh, shit.
Alright.
I heard he needed motivation.
May I speak to you, Captain?
Actually, Guinan,
You know, Picard and I...
maybe you haven't heard. I tried to kill him yesterday.
You tried to kill whatever that is on the Borg ship, not Picard.
Yeah, you gotta let go of the idea of him.
This was his crew. He wrote the book on this ship.
If the Borg know everything he knows, it's time to throw that book away. It's the only way to beat him, the only way to save him. That is now your chair, Captain.
Oh, I love that so much.
Yeah, another excellent scene. But how is he gonna go through all this and then just go back to being first officer? I'm so... it's like, I'll let it play out, obviously, but that's what's in my mind. It's like, damn.
He's got to let go of everything
We're now approaching the Wolf system.
Picard's taught him and do his own thing.
On my way.
They should send Wesley down there to do recon. First duty is ensign.
And I send Wesley in one of those spacesuits from the motion picture.
Oh, God.
Who's that? Now, who's going after him?
Visual contact. On screen.
Ooh.
Some good effects.
Yeah.
You see all the what do they call the Enterprise something class?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a bunch of Enterprises. I know, but I know it's not the Enterprise.
The Tolstoy, the Kyushu, the Melbourne.
Melbourne.
He was going to captain that ship. I remembered.
So does that mean the whole Starfleet armada of ships are cooked? Like
The ones they sent, yeah, it looks like there's at least 9 or 10 of them. Good Lord.
yeah, I'm sorry, I can't remember. I don't think it's Constitution class. I forget what class it is. I'm not a ship guy, obviously. Damn.
Oh, wow.
Badass.
Ooh, look at their screen.
That's awesome.
We wish to end the hostilities.
Then you must unconditionally surrender.
We are prepared to meet to discuss your terms.
What is the saucer section?
Yeah, good point.
Mr. Gleason, can you pinpoint the source of the Borg transmission?
I can put you within 30 meters of it, sir.
O'Brien, report.
Woo!
Rambler code Riker 1, acknowledged.
Shelby, report.
Ready for separation.
They're doing it.
We haven't seen this done since the pilot.
The pilot, yeah, they've brought it up a few times, especially last season, but never actually did it. Do you think when the screen goes to the middle like that? Wait, I don't have a good shot. Gotta wait for it to turn.
Wait. Okay, now. Wait.
Evasive maneuvers. Pattern Riker Alpha.
Riker Alpha confirmed.
Ooh.
Shuttle launch sequence confirmed. Departing Enterprise in exactly 3 seconds.
So now they got 3 ships going.
And is that thing on their arm the scrambler?
I think so, yeah.
So, like, they can't see them? Ah! Laser pointer in the eye.
The Borg tractor beam has moved toward the antimatter spread. They might be picking up the engine ionization from the shuttle.
Data, cut your engines, take her in unpowered.
Okay, gonna infiltrate it.
Shuttle escape transporter should provide enough power to beam us onto the Borg ship from here, sir.
Proceed.
Or do you think that's like a safety transponder so they can beam out of there? Because they're saying they were trouble beaming in there.
Yeah, I could see that. There we go. More Borg deaths. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, if in theory they do have to grow these things from babies, do you think they can, like, run out of them? You know what I mean? Like, do they have a limited amount?
That's a good point. And does it take as long as human babies? Or can they well, clearly they can also assimilate people, so maybe they visited planets and just picked people up.
Damn! Worf and Locutus one-on-one.
Data, something's got me!
Oh, there you go.
Well, they got him.
They beam back and he's just back to normal Picard. Let go of me!
The Worf doesn't believe him, so he continues punching him in the face.
Locked in.
Oh! Oh, he beamed him in just in time. Okay.
Chief!
See, that was a good fake out.
It was quick.
Yeah.
It was really quick. I was like, oh shit. The Chief.
Just saved their lives.
Always.
I mean, his job, but... Yeah. See, you can be a good captain.
He knows what he's doing.
Good shot right here.
Ooh, yeah. It's 2 sections. The C in Chief stands for clutch. Don't ask me about the other 4 letters yet.
The saucer section's a sitting duck.
Prepare to draw their fire.
Captain, the Borg ship is moving away.
He says the saucer section like they're not in it.
I'm thinking the other one is actually the saucer section. I don't know. I don't know. You'd think this would be the saucer section, but I guess the other one is? I don't know.
If we're lucky, he had access to everything we need to know about them, especially their vulnerabilities.
Also, how about getting that info back? Too late, it's already in the cloud.
The laser pointer. Oh, that's cool.
It's Beverly. Can you hear me?
Beverly, Crusher, Doctor.
Yes. Don't try to move.
Don't let him move. Not yet.
A futile maneuver. Incorrect strategy. Number 1. To risk your crew and ship to retrieve only one man. Picard would never have approved.
Exactly.
There is no need for apprehension. I intend no harm. No harm.
Oh, the cheek prosthetic.
Yeah, they did a great job with his makeup.
Cutting the link to Locutus might be fatal to the captain.
We have to find a way to reach him. We must know what he knows.
That's a dream parent scenario right there. Beverly and Riker.
Worf, Klingon species. A warrior race. You two will be assimilated. Why do you resist? We only wish to raise quality of life.
Oh, here we go.
The android, data, primitive artificial organism. You will be obsolete in the new order.
Jesus.
Oh!
Beverly's had enough.
Hit him with the stim. Well, she didn't want him to roast her, so she had to take him out.
Surprised they let him walk around that much.
Yeah, I mean, he did say he intended no harm, but yeah, I mean, he could just probably kill any of them.
Ooh, is that Saturn? Shout out to Saturn.
Saturn doesn't get enough credit. It's a damn good gas giant.
Coolest planet, never gets mentioned.
Mr. O'Brien is ready to process the Borg signal.
Make it so. Dispatch, Mr. Data.
Proceeding immediately.
Ooh, nice.
We're back in this room where he created law.
I think where she died, too. Oh, shit.
First neural connection is confirmed. I cannot report any significant access to the Borg consciousness.
And they're trying to connect with his brain, almost like Professor X. Who would have thought? It's almost like after seeing.
Whoa!
Oh! Shit, man.
The Borg have broken through the Mars defense perimeter.
Enterprise now approaching Terran system, sir.
Slow to impulse.
Say Earth, kid. You're from Earth. Or is he from Earth?
Yeah, is he? I think so.
Neural connections complete. I have access to the Borg subspace signals.
What if Data becomes a Borg?
I was thinking that too, like kind of dangerous.
Strongest being on the Enterprise.
Ultron against Jarvis.
Oh! Processing.
That's awesome. I want that as a Christmas ornament.
The Borg group consciousness is divided into sub-commands, necessary to carry out all functions.
The top half of his face hasn't moved. It's freaking me out.
He's like, I've had enough of this.
Oh!
Wow! Man, nice bump.
Nice. Yeah, stay over there, Chief. Stay over there. Primitive, huh?
Damn!
Borg might be trying to terminate their link with him.
Wouldn't that be good? Well, I know they want the info, though.
He might blow up.
Oh, yeah?
It would require altering the pathway from the root command to affect all iterative branch points in the...
Make every effort, Mr. Data.
Just cuts him off.
Something straightforward, like disarm your weapon systems.
I thought he was going to say self-destruct.
Not yet. Not until not until Picard's fully disconnected.
Put in the command Alt F4. That'll stall him for a while.
Defense systems are protected by access barriers.
And you know it really sucks for Patrick Stewart because he had to have that full body makeup.
Oh, yeah.
You know, at least Data has the sleeves.
Mr. Crusher, ready a collision course with the Borg ship. You heard me, a collision course.
Just gonna run straight into it?
Sleep, Data.
He's exhausted.
Yes, Doctor.
He's saying put them to sleep. At first I was gonna say, oh yeah, the Borg wouldn't sleep, but actually, you think that's what they're doing when they're in the, you know, those things?
Oh, yeah. Just waiting.
And Data to bridge. Stand by.
Stand by, all stations.
That was good. Cutting him off, saying engage.
Warning. Inner hull failure imminent on decks 23, 24, and 25.
What are you gonna do, Riker? Oh, well, looks like you put him to sleep.
It misdirected them to believe it was time to regenerate. In effect, I put them all to sleep.
Oh, do you think it'd be possible to, like, actually blow them up while they're asleep?
Maybe.
Whoa! Oh! Damn, okay.
How do you feel?
Almost human, with just a bit of a headache.
How much do you remember?
Everything. Brilliantly unorthodox strategy from a former first officer of mine.
Oh. Nice, nice.
I laughed because you said a headache, because, you know, Picard's headache. You know.
Oh, okay, okay. I was gonna say, like, dude still had tubes and wires going through him. Like, how'd they fix that?
Come.
I guess that's just his bandage on his head?
See how they both said come?
Oh, no, yeah, nice.
They picked a fine officer for the task force, Commander.
We'll have the fleet back up in less than a year.
Oh.
I imagine you'll have your choice of any Starfleet command, sir.
Yeah, I would imagine.
My career plans are my own business, and no one else's.
I hope I have the fortune of serving with you again, sir.
And she was never seen again. I don't know. All right, I looked a little ambiguous there.
Yes, that was very ambiguous. Not so obvious where like his eyes glow or something stupid like that, but just enough where it's like he's looking out in space for possibly another Borg cube.
He doesn't go look at Earth and go, must destroy. All right, well, it's a new season. It's time for something new. We're going to be using these whiteboards.
Josh, you left something on there.
Huh?
You left.
Instead of talking about the episodes after the reaction, we're going to leave all that for the discussion. Instead, we're going to reveal right after each episode, before we say anything, we're going to show what each of us thinks of the episode by tier listing it. We're secretly going to write down individually tier S through E. S is basically A+, and E is basically F, if you don't know. And then we'll reveal it at the same time. And then that'll kind of be the opener to go into our thoughts for the discussion. For episode 1 of season 4, Best of Both Worlds part 2, this is how we would tier rank it. 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. Very interesting. Well, if you want to see our thoughts on why we ranked it this way, check out our discussion.
You once knew him as Picard, captain of the Starship Enterprise, but now he's half man, half machine, a deadly pawn of the evil Borg. His mission, to destroy Earth and anything or anyone who gets in his way. It's the showdown of the 24th century on the next exciting episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
I say the teasers are better. I mean, the slow motion's a bit much.
Yeah, a bit overuse of the slow motion, but definitely a step up overall, I'd say.
Don LaFontaine, back once again.
And it didn't spoil really anything.
No, nothing really at all.
They must capture Picard and use his knowledge to defeat the Borg.
Yeah, not revealing anything. It was a fine teaser, but was it a fine episode? That's the ultimate question. It's been a long time since we've watched TNG, but we've let season 3 sink in. We spewed out our top 10. We've pushed it out of the void. It's a fresh start. And it's weird because it's a fresh start with the ending to a two-parter. And I'd like to know how you feel. If you saw the reaction, I'd hope you saw the reaction if you're watching this. You gave it an A, I gave it a B, ... question mark. Because I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. I'm still collecting all my thoughts. But you gave it a definitive A, so I'd like to hear why you gave it a definitive A.
Yeah, so I definitely thought it was a really good episode. Real quick, just to talk about season premieres, obviously the best one in TNG that we've seen so far. None of the others really even compare, except for like the special feeling of the pilot being the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a great episode. Obviously, it had the advantage of being a second part to a great episode already, but it could have been a letdown. It could have been disappointing, and I don't think it was. I think everything that they wanted to do in the episode, they did really well. The highlight for me overall was probably Michael Pillar's writing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the writing in the whole episode was excellent, and there is a lot of action in the episode. But the writing is what stood out the most to me, the dialogue between the characters. I'm going to love to get into that. Everyone seemed to have a role, except really maybe Troy, but she didn't have much to do. But
Troy was there to be like, Picard's there, it's him. You know, the feeling like
true.
Picard's saying this.
True. You're right. I'm glad you reminded me of that. Yeah, so everyone seemed to have a pretty good role, pretty sizable chunk. And I just loved the writing was the main thing, and also it did kind of feel a little bit like a different show. Maybe I'm a little bit in my own head with that, but it feels like kind of a next level, an evolution, not season 3, episode 1 evolution, but an evolution of the next step, and a little bit more continuity, an ambiguous ending to a certain degree, some dynamics we'll get into that are going to grow. So yeah, overall, I just felt like it succeeded at everything it wanted to do for me. Now, why wasn't it an S? I'll get into that a little bit later, but yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too. I just didn't hit that next level for me, like, oh my god, this is great. Riker trying to, he's captain now. People are calling him captain. It's weird. It's crazy. That scene with Guinan's probably my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
When Guinan sits in the chair, before him. Or even right before that, it's like so short. It's like he's still talking to Picard like he's there, and that scene resolutes with like, you have to let him go. He's still like in this room. It's like almost like she knew exactly what he was doing in there. It's like you got to be your own man. He was like, and in the finale of season 3, he's talking easily. Maybe I'm afraid of the chair. Like I don't know if I can do this. Blah blah blah. And then for him to like not only like be on his own, but to throw everything away because Picard's on the other team now. It's like he has to completely be his own man. All that was wonderful. Data is terrifying. I thought he was totally going to be assimilated with the Borg through Picard during that end scene where like they're connected with the neural link, and like Brent Spiner is so good at just shutting off the top half of his face. His eyes did not move 1 second while he's delivering this speech about what's going on in there. I'm like, oh my god, they're going to get Data. They got Data. What else? I like Picard as Locutus calling Riker #1. Like, oh shit, like he does have all of Picard's memories in there. That's terrifying, especially with it being the Borg. Now is the Borg destroyed? I don't know, but I love that ending. I love that ending. Goes to sip the tea. He's got like the remnants of the bandages. I think those are bandages or just remnants of what the Borg did to him. They can't take it all off yet, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And he just looks out the window. Maybe there's another cube out there.
Yeah, is that what you think he's thinking about?
Yes, I'm glad it didn't do something like Mystique in X-Men, where like her eyes would flash
Yeah.
yellow or something like that. Just subtle, just looking out the window. That could be like that could be Picard. It's probably still Picard. I think it's definitely still Picard, but he has all the knowledge of the Borg. And he's like, that's not the only cube out there. But it's like,
That's interesting. I hadn't even thought about that. Who knows if this cube is even the same one from Q Who back then? You know, who knows?
true, because it's all hive mind, right? Yeah.
Yeah, who knows how many are out there? I didn't even think about that. That's a great point. And I took the ending more as Picard, you know, coming to terms with the character of Picard. He's not completely over what has happened. And one thing I've loved thus far about the series is the little touch of continuity. And that little small moment now is going to be instilled in my mind throughout the rest of at least the season, but even the series of, you know, he went through a very traumatic experience. He says when he wakes up, I remember everything. That's now a part of his character, a little growth that, you know, the first 3 seasons of the show, Picard hadn't gone through that. Now he has. Like, how does that change him? That's going to be very interesting. Even if they don't directly touch on it at all in the show, it'll be in my head, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I really enjoyed that. And I also wanted on the Guinan scene as well. Amazing scene. It's hilarious to see her go from, you know, flirting with Riker and 10 Forward a couple seasons ago to now, you know, he's the captain and she has to make this relationship with him. I love how when Riker comes into Picard's office, the captain's quarters, is that the ready room, I think?
It's the ready room.
Yeah, they wouldn't be his quarters. Yeah, the ready room. He's looking at the chair, like Picard's still there. He, you know, doesn't dare even sit in it, and he's like treating it like he's there. Guinan just walks in, sits right in it, like kind of snapping Riker to reality.
Mm-hmm.
And Guinan's so great, such a great character.
So I wish he was in the episode more. Like, she's always like in one scene, kills it, then just gets out of town. It's like, just stay a bit longer.
She's like the bases loaded designated hitter. Like, go up the bat, yep, pow. All right, you're done.
Yeah, there's your one at bat for the game. Get out of here. You earned it.
But great scene. I also you talked about the Data scene with Picard. I want to talk about the makeup for Locutus because it's excellent. Maybe the best we've seen on a main character in the show. Obviously, we see a bunch of weird alien guest makeup, but for Patrick Stewart to have to go through this, I can only imagine how annoying and tenuous that was. So I'm glad he didn't try to be like, no, just do the head up, you know, or something.
Yeah, plus they upped it too. They showed that whole scene where they were adding more shit onto him.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god. And full body too. It had the paint in his whole body. He was like down in his underwear. And like, oh my god.
Yeah, and I loved just the shot of the tear. I'm pretty sure it was a special effect tear, but that's okay. It still gets across. You know, Picard's in there.
He's in there. He's feeling all this. I think one shot was like this long like drill type thing going like straight into his head. It's like, and to touch on again the whole Data scene with Picard. I love that scene because on two ends you have Troy, like the most emotional one who feels all the emotion. And then you have the complete opposite, Data, you know, emotionless per se, and they both got to like work together to get Picard out of this machine, out of this whole thing, because apparently the Borg, they mentioned in exposition that they've had to separate people from these Borg, and like unsuccessfully they blow up, or after they like insubordinate or incapacitate a Borg, they like blow up. So that's the whole plot. They got to like do this. They got to stop. We got to try to slow down this Borg cube heading to Earth, and it's going by Saturn. It's going by Mars, destroying all the defenses. It took out like 11 ships apparently.
Yeah.
Did they kill the Doctor from?
I believe so.
From BSG. God damn.
Yeah, and that might be one of the most devastating moments, devastating shots in this show thus far for Starfleet. Seeing the Melbourne and all the other ships just laid to waste, all the deaths that, you know, you don't have to see every single ship captain die like we see with the Doctor, but like just the ships being destroyed. You're like, I thought that was everything. I was actually even a little surprised later on when Shelby says it will take them about a year. I'm like, only a year? I mean, I know it's the future, but damn, like they were wrecked. And I loved all that. I got to give it up to the conference room scene. Was amazing, and that these are the type of scenes that I love. The writing is excellent. Every character in that room got to have their moment. Geordi giving his strategy, you know, Beverly talking about it, and then Riker has to step up what would usually be Picard in that moment, and you know, he names Shelby as first officer. He doesn't apologize, but he explains it to Data, who doesn't really care. Although I did like the little moment of Worf and Data looking at each other when he says it's her.
Yeah, it's like, or him like right about now, Picard would give some motivational speech, and I could really use it myself right now, but he's not here. And even before that, the Doctor from BSG says, you know, there was a story about a young Starfleet officer who like who was in last, and then he finished first in this long run or whatever, and that was Jean-Luc Picard. But then he says, but we have to treat this as a casualty. Is that what he says? It's like he's gone. Like, we got to treat this like he's dead. It's like,
yeah.
So you're giving up any chance to trying to recover him? It's like, well, yeah, I guess.
And this is where I have to shout out Gates, because in this scene, as well as a future scene, I think the one where Picard's, you know, still Locutus, but he's coming on the Enterprise back, you know, conscious for the first time. He's not Picard yet. But in both of those scenes, her subtle physical and facial acting is so great. In the moment where she says that, and is like, so you're giving up all chance of recovery? Like, she just subtly starts to tear up. Doesn't cry. No one says anything. Not even a shot of anyone, like, looking at her. No one told her to do that. Like, Gates McFadden is just great. And, you know, excellent acting here from the whole episode for her. And what a great choice to have her be the one to talk to Picard as he's waking up. Unfortunately, he's still Locutus in that moment. But her being like, it's Beverly, do you remember me? Like, you know, of course there's the romantic undertones, but even that aside, it's like perfect to see that. So I loved all of that.
Crusher, Doctor.
yeah.
I love that scene as well, where he goes like all of them. At first, it's Worf. Like they allow him. I'm not here to cause any damage. It's fine. So they let him like walk around. Goes up to Worf. It's like, Worf, Klingon. You know, oh, you'll never assimilate the Klingon Empire. Unfortunate. Blah blah blah. And then it's like, Data, Android, and then Beverly's like, you're done.
yeah. He's like, you will be obsolete in the new age.
Yeah, it's like, oh, primitive. He calls him primitive. It's like, oh, Jesus. I mean, I feel like Data's a bit above. I mean, the Borg are all hive mind and, you know, pretty, not simple, but like simple gold, I guess. You know, it's like not much room for, well, Data's inquisitive and curious.
Yeah.
Is being inquisitive and curious like weakness to the Borg?
I think Locutus is looking at it as, oh, you're just some random android. We're the Borg. From like a power, a functionality, what you're able to do, like they're this giant joined up machine. From that aspect, I get what he's saying. As to where Data's just Data. He's not connected to anything else. He's just one positronic brain, you know, who has issues, you know, so.
That's true.
But he gets his lick back because Data's the one who plugs in and gives him the virus and gets it all taken care of.
Yeah. And that's what I love, too, figuring out, like, when is it Picard or when is it Locutus? And, like, but also just like a weird, like, oh, he's back. Like, at the end. Like, I don't know if I needed more of a more cinematic, climactic, you know, like, you know, I don't just so.
Yeah, like The Abyss, when the woman comes back. Yeah,
it's just like it was like fluctuating back and forth between like sleep, Data, sleep, and then he was just holding his hand, and it's like, is he back? Is he fully back? How much of him is there? Because Troy was there to say, no, that's Picard under there. It's like, how much is him? And then at the end, after the Borg cube blows up, he's just, I have a headache.
Yeah. In the moment where Data puts them to sleep, before he does that, when he first links in and he asks Riker, what message should I give? And Riker's like says something along the lines of like put their defenses down or disarm their weapons or
Disarm
something
their
like
weapons,
that.
yeah.
I love that it was Locutus, but really Picard underneath Locutus as the one to give Data the idea to put them to sleep. Because them just figuring it out, like, it would have been fine, or Riker figuring it out would have been fine, but it gives Picard that level of he's still in there, gives him something to do. Because my worry once they took him back was, oh, he's just going to be Locutus cyborg until the end. But so that moment gave him something to do, and a really meaningful thing to do in the episode. So I enjoyed that choice. I want to talk about the first thing you brought up, which was the very beginning. Because this is a fault of, I think, almost any two-part thing, but especially in TV. It's a clear setup to a cliffhanger that it has to be resolved right at the beginning. There's no way to delay it, and that's exactly what happens. And this is in modern TV, with serialized TV, where like every episode they try to get you to continue by having a cliffhanger, and then 5 minutes into the next episode the cliffhanger doesn't matter. It happens so often, and it did again here. It wasn't as bad as I expected. I totally expected like completely disregard. I'll give it a little bit of credit to where it went into the story of, our attack didn't even damage them. So like I give it that, and it goes into the whole they have all Picard's knowledge, but it still overall is, the cliffhanger didn't matter, basically.
Yeah, they've gone into detail how well the Borg can adapt. I totally believe that the Borg are going to be able to figure it out and not be affected by that attack and have the Borg keep below. Because what do? Then the episode's over. What, it blows up?
Yeah.
That's it. I just expected it to be a bit longer of a problem. Because it felt, after like 4 or 5 minutes, it's like, ready room. It's like, out of the plot of this episode.
Yeah.
We got rid of we figured out how to get rid of that problem. Now go to the rest. It's like, I needed a reason, like, for that to be such like an epic cliffhanger, to the point where like, what's his real name? Jonathan Frakes can go to conventions and say, Mr. Worf, fire. It's like, yeah. It's like, oh yeah. And then remember when it was figured out, or it didn't work in the next 5 minutes, and then...
Yeah.
It's like,
I 100% agree, because you can tell our patrons have let us know that Michael Piller, who wrote both of these, wrote the first one and was basically thinking he was leaving the show and was like, okay, figure it out. And then came back, they signed him, and now he's like a permanent part of the show, which I'm glad. He's really good.
Yeah.
But, then had to come back and write this. And you can tell, like, it's very much like, oh, let's take care of that cliffhanger, now let's write the episode. And again, this is a real problem in a lot of this type of media. It's not just this Star Trek episode. But it falls victim to the same trope, in my opinion. And, we talked a lot about Infinity War when we talked about Part 1, so let me bring it to Endgame. Imagine Infinity War ends the way it does. Endgame opens, and instead of an entire first act of grief and then an entire second act of trying to fix things, I get it, it's not the same exact story, but just, bear with me. Endgame opens up, and instantly they're like, oh, everyone's back. Let's not let that happen again. It's like, oh, what the fuck? Like, that's how it felt. It's a TV. It's like, again, it's not like I'm excusing it. It's one of the things that factored into why this isn't an S, like why it's not a favorite. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, they have 45 minutes. How much of that is credits? How much of that is the recap?
Yeah, previously on, yeah.
And the intro. It's like, hopefully, episode 2 just doesn't go back to being Riker's number 1 and that's it. Because he was captain. He was called captain. At the end, the ding on the ready room door. And they both say come at the same time. Like, are they really just going to, like, that's it? Is this going to be a recurring theme in other episodes? I mean, we've already talked about this, but it's, after this one, with us seeing the, not turmoil, but a little bit like, oh, yeah. It's like, okay, we're going to go back to normal now. But Riker, like, he can do it in the chair. But also, was it Picard who, like, ultimately won the day when he realized put him to sleep? But, I don't know, it's... spurs a lot of questions.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect example of when I'm talking about my expectations for an episode, it's based on what the episode is and what it's set up as. So, like, I love Hollow Pursuits as an episode. Very fun time, great episode. If this had opened up and was Hollow Pursuits, I'm not talking exact plot, but I just mean like in the tone and style, I'd have been like, what the fuck is this? Like I would have been like, ugh. But no, Hollow Pursuits was great because as its own episode, it set it up. So it's like this episode had to be what it was. Like it had to be this payoff to this incredible cliffhanger we had, and really good episode, really good finale. And I thought it was very successful in that. So that's why I gave it the A grade, is because I'm basing it on what this episode is. That doesn't mean it's going to be, in my top 5 or whatever. I'm getting way ahead, but like, I don't think there was anything about the episode that was like major flaws or that they failed at. Everything they did was great. I would agree though with what you said at the beginning, where there was no part of me that was blown away like I have been during other episodes. There's no part of me that was like, wow, this is amazing. It was all just really good. And I know an A grade being the expectation, it maybe is a bit much, but I wish every episode could just be like, this is the bar. Like, if the next episode used this as the bar, if just like everything was successful, and we're going to get into what we didn't like, but like, there was nothing that I was like, or there was nothing that I was like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, it was just all really solid or really good. So that's why overall I really enjoyed it.
Okay. I enjoyed the episode a lot. I'm leaning more towards a B+. It's just those little things that stick in my brain. It's like negative YouTube comments. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like you can have all the nice stuff in the world, but it's like when something sticks out at you, it's like,
Yeah, that's probably the difference between ours. Is for me, there was nothing, I had my gripes, but there was nothing that stuck out enough to where I was like, oh, like everything was like, wow, this is a really good episode. Yeah, some stuff's not perfect, but it was all good enough to where at the end of the day, it was a really good one. So I just, I think that's just maybe the difference in our grades, is it affected the certain things, a little bit more for you. But we're still going to be tier listing at the end of the season, every episode again from scratch. And it'll be fun to see how we think of this one, the very first episode after seeing the entire season, if we changed it all. So
if I even remember it by the time we're done.
Exactly. Well, we're going to jump over to Patreon for our exclusive topic on this episode. For this one, it's going to be the dynamic between Riker and Picard. Now that Picard's back and Riker has had some experience as the captain of the Enterprise, how do we think that's going to play out this season and beyond? What do we think that means for Riker and Picard? We're going to get into all of that exclusively over on our Patreon. We do like a talk show like we're acting like we're talking to each other.
Yeah.
Like. So this is what we're going to talk about, what people love to say are our nitpicks, or our things we should just ignore and enjoy the show.
Would I have loved to see 15 minutes of just grief for Picard being gone, for how everyone's adjusting to Riker being captain? It's like he was like acting as captain in the last episode, but like, I don't know, more of the crew, like, letting it sit a bit longer that Picard's gone and let show a little more of Riker's. I don't know what it is. I don't have the answer, because the ultimate question is, what do you do? We only have so much time. So as much as I'm like, of course, figure out in the first 5 minutes, in another sense, I'm like, I get it, I guess. And like, I understand why it's easy.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
It didn't work. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I understand. And again, that's why none of this is like, I get it, it's TV. I'm not, I get it. It's just like, I'm talking about what I want, so I don't care.
Yeah,
and it's like, this is off the top of my head. Would this work? I don't know. But like, when I'm thinking of what I would have liked to have seen, opens up. One really just quick, easy idea is actually have him fire, it hits him, and then it's just a full-on Riker versus Locutus battle. Battle sequence back and forth. Oh, the Enterprise just gets away. And Riker is like, oh, we're in the thick of it. Then you go into the plot. Like, that's just a simple one. But let's say you don't want to do that. You don't have the budget for it, whatever. They fire. It does blow up. Because remember, the whole season 3 finale was like, oh, they're vulnerable right now. This is the only time we can get them. That was his whole reason for doing it.
Yep.
It blows up. We see them all blow up. We think Locutus is dead. They're all dead. Now do the grief. Now, you're grieving. Grieving?
Grieving? Yeah.
Grieving, yeah. You're grieving over Picard. You're dealing with the fact that now you're the captain, but you didn't want it to be in this scenario. And us as the audience, maybe deep down we don't believe Picard's dead, but we don't know it. We just saw them blow up. Then after the 10, 15 minutes of that grief, or it doesn't even 5 minutes, whatever. Then you cut to Locutus, out in space or on a piece of the cube that's not fully destroyed, another cube comes by, sucks them up. Enterprise has no idea this is coming when suddenly, now you're right back in battle, Locutus popping up on the view screen. You thought you could kill me, number one, you know?
Yeah. Or something like, oh, we've also assimilated customs used by the Romulans or something, where it's like maybe they had like a fake out ship or something. Because wasn't there something where there's like a hologram ship? There's one episode where there was a hologram ship, I feel like. Or
it happens sometimes.
A fake out ship. Like something where it calls back to even like something as far as back, oh, we knew you'd shoot at us at this vulnerable position. That's why we created this, fake shoot. It's like something like that.
Practical Joker TAS, the blow up Enterprise. We're distracting them with the blow. It was like literally a blow up balloon.
But yeah, I would really love that. One of my favorite scenes from Endgame is Captain America's therapy room. Remember that?
Yeah.
Like I would love to see the equivalent of that with everyone just like with the ship. Your idea with the whole thing blowing up. I think that's great. And letting it sit for a while with people like not knowing, like, is he not going to come back? And then whatever bullshit reason that they come back and like, nope, we're still here, bitch.
Exactly, yeah. And you can't do that the way it is because when they go into that ready room, it's, we have to deal with the situation. If they had blown them up right at the beginning, they don't think there's a situation anymore. So now they go just deal with it until the situation comes to them. And you still could have had all the plot beats, making Shelby the number one, grieving over Picard, obviously, the Doctor showing up on the screen and doing the same thing. Or maybe instead of showing up at the Enterprise, showing up to wherever the Melbourne and those other ships were, and the Doctor from BSG coming on, and that's him dying. As he's like, there's more.
Yeah, they're still here. What do you mean?
Oh, and then the footage of the ships, and then Locutus on the view screen.
Yeah. And
so
you still had that scene with Guinan too. I mean, I think it would even hit harder.
Yeah, plus, the scene of them picking up Locutus, now that I'm thinking about it, like, you don't even need that. Like, the audience can also be revealed when Locutus comes on screen, and it doesn't even really need to be explained, because it's the Borg. Like, they figured it out. So, yeah, anyway. I think that's enough on the opening of it, but it goes into my second biggest gripe with the episode, is how quickly, I don't want to say easily, because it was a really cool plan they put together with Data and Worf going over and the separating of the saucers and the infiltrating Picard. The actual plan was cool, but in terms of runtime of the episode, how quickly they got Picard back, and then I get it, he's still Locutus, but he's no longer a threat at that point, and it's like we know he's going to be Picard, so now it's just like, oh, guess the whole threat's over.
Yeah, once they got him back on board the ship, it was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? I mean,
exactly.
They had the whole plan with the saucer section, so the ship's in two separate parts, and like because of all that happening, it's not called the Galileo anymore, but whatever, the little ship,
the shuttlecraft. Yeah, they have all different names. Yeah,
so it could easily fly under the radar. It has its own transporter. They have those special little beams on because they make some sort of comment like, "Oh, beaming in there's not going to work, or beaming out of there's not going to work unless MacGuffin." So, and they in the season 3 finale, they kind of mentioned, or maybe it was in Q-Who too, they kind of like ignore him. I think it was in the season 3 finale. Like they're destroying the sensors, and like the Borg don't even recognize him.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it does make sense for them to grab him.
Yeah, I'm not even saying it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying like, why'd you do it? Like it's just like writing wise, it's like, okay, now there's no more tension
because we know, like, we know, like he's not gonna. It'd be crazy if he did die, but, but like we know that he's not going to. Maybe that's because like we're in the know that this show goes on a bit longer than season 4, episode 1.
Yeah, sure.
But also like just in this episode, Picard's in the credits.
So, yeah, the opening credits as Picard. Yeah,
like that's the thing about like modern TV is that you can take more risks with stuff like that. You can take people out of an intro. You can not even have an intro. I think everything was so formalized back then, where it's,
but
I prefer if he didn't get beamed over until like the very end.
Yeah, and have the whole plan with Data set up. This is what we have to do when we get him back. Boom, boom, plug him in, try to do this virus, Picard stops him, sleep, Was there nice moments with Locutus talking to Worf and Data and all that? Like, yeah, that's fun, but at the cost of all the tension of Picard's life and the balance being gone? Like, yeah, they put in the fake stakes of he might blow up, he's not. So it's like, again, that's just my preference.
And him just walking around like the medical room and just like, oh, Worf, oh, Data. It's like,
yeah.
It's like,
yeah, exactly. So, what you just said though about all that stuff about more risks in TV today, like again, this has been the case since the Man Trap. We're watching this in 2024. That's how we're looking at it. Like if that's not how you look at it, that's cool. I get it. Other people watched it when it was first on TV and they have that perspective. We never will. There's no way to. So this is how we're looking at it. There are plenty of episodes in this show, in TNG, that don't make me feel like this. So it's not the entire show. It bothers me when it happens. Shelby also just being quickly brushed under the rug. I will say that I wasn't as frustrated about that one because I joked about it in the reaction, but it doesn't make sense that he's like, well, now I'm the captain, so I guess our rivalry doesn't really matter. So I was okay with it, but
yeah, it's true.
It was kind of just like, all right, let's move. It's like everything from that episode was like, oh, let's just move on.
Yeah, just wrap it with a nice bow. Okay, we're good. Let's move on.
And I've seen a lot of people say, obviously there is the combined version of this episode out there, and some people, I guess, prefer to watch it that way. Even if you watched them back to back or combined, these feel like two separate episodes because they wrap everything up from that first half so quickly. All that's left is the threat of the Borg, which, yeah, that's a threat, but, I mean, that was already a threat. Nothing that happened in the finale, like, once you get Locutus on the Enterprise, now it's just a Borg episode. So it's like, I don't know, it doesn't really seem that connected to it as much as I had expected because all of the major plot points had kind of been wrapped up,
Yeah, they're all wrapped up except for the fact of getting Picard back. But once they get him back on the ship so early, tension's gone.
Yeah.
Instead of that, it was great. The great quick scene where O'Brien gets Worf and Data back.
That was nice.
That was nice. We needed that with Picard at the end. Save that for, Worf and Data do something else besides just get him back that quick.
Oh, like that's the transporter scene is at the end of there.
At the end.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done it before in other episodes. That's the problem. Because there's been 2 or 3 other ones where it ends with that transporter saves him at the last second.
Yeah.
So that's my only...
That's
what
why
do we do?
I would defend that it was in the middle there because it being the middle of the episode, I was a little bit like, oh, shit, because I knew it wasn't the end. But it was only a couple seconds of that because then I was like, okay, they're in. But it was a good moment,
It would have been great if there was a fake out. They grab Picard. They beam back. Shuttle's blown up. They beam back. It's only Worf and Data.
Oh, that'd be cool, yeah.
And then green light shows Picard beam back into, your primitive transporting. It's not going to work. So they have to write and find another way to get him back.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. This is me just fan casting, writing it on the spot. But just something where it's a little more creative than, oh, we got him.
Yeah, exactly. I do love the last scene, the ambiguous ending. I really love that. But when he wakes up, per se, from being Locutus, and he's just instantly Picard and he's fine, it's like, dude, you got tubes and wires still going through your body. You just went through this traumatic experience, yet within seconds you're aware enough to make a quip to Riker about your former number one. It's like, I love the moment. I love the line to Riker, like, oh, some brilliant strategy from a former number one. But it's like, in that moment, does that make sense? Like, you kind of just have to buy in and be, the suspension of disbelief can only go so far.
I guess in his defense, he was there the entire time. He just wasn't able to speak as himself. Like, similar to, what's the zone in Get Out?
The sunken place?
It's like he's there watching everything as it's happening. He, from beginning of Locutus to the end, he's fully aware. It's not like he's like, oh, what happened?
But imagine that. Imagine you're in that scenario. You're thinking you're never coming back. Your body's being controlled by the Borg. You're probably just going to blow up or die based on what these people around you are saying. And then you come to, I'd be like, oh, thank you so much. I thought, I know he's a composed guy, but I thought I was going to be dead, whatever. There just wasn't enough of a sell for me to be, it was just like, oh, it's Picard. It might as well have been Kirk on the bridge afterwards. Oh, ha. It's like, it's sell it a little bit more. It's like, this was a big deal.
Show some more gratefulness to your crew. It's like, I knew I can count,
Yeah, or just some shock that you're alive and you survived this.
Yeah, that, or just I knew you had it in you, number one. You know what I mean? Or just his crew. But also, he gave it it was me. I gave the idea for put the Borg to sleep. You guys didn't do shit.
Yeah. So for this season, we're going to do a little bit something extra with the Patron Takes. Not only are we reading the takes, but we're also letting the patrons tier list the episode just like we are. So for this one, I gave it an A. You gave this one a B to start the season, and the patrons also gave it an A. So not an S tier. I'm surprised, actually, that they went with A. There were a lot of votes for S, but A did win out. At the end of the season, we'll revisit both our tier list and the patrons tier list. All members on Patreon, even free members, get to participate in that tier list. So join up over on Patreon if you want to do that. But let's go on with the takes, Alex.
In this episode, Chief O'Brien ended up playing a larger role than was originally intended. LeVar Burton underwent emergency surgery at the beginning of the filming, and many of his lines were instead given to Colm Meaney. Burton later came back and did the rest of Geordi's scenes separately. Oh, wow. Cool. Well, that's the thing. You throw the ball, you pass the ball, you throw the touchdown pass to Colm Meaney. He's going to catch it. He's going to hit a home run. He's going to hit that three-pointer. It's like, just give him the reins. You know what I mean? He's great.
Yeah. Good old Chief O'Meany, for sure.
Chief O'Meany. What's his name? Miles O'Brien. I really appreciated the narrative callback to Ricard's. I really appreciated the narrative callback to Riker's trying to defeat Picard from peak performance, but with much higher stakes. Riker was outmanned, outgunned, and out-equipped, but he had guile. Yeah, and I love that too. Watching it, I was thinking like, oh wow, this is like peak performance, but for real, and about as real as I can get because Picard was taken over by the Borg. So I really did like that as well. We still didn't really get a true answer. I mean, I guess in theory you could say Riker won, but they stole Picard. I mean, it'd be like in peak performance if they had gone over and kidnapped Picard from the other ship. Like, is that really beating the guy, or did you just like abduct them? I mean, the Borg on their own were already pretty, adaptable.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But now with Picard's knowledge, they were super adaptable, so...
Yeah, I give Riker the W for sure, but I still wish there was a straight-up 2 Galaxy-class ships, Riker and Picard. We'll see what happens.
So if Riker had taken that promotion to the USS Melbourne, he'd most likely be dead now. Scary to think we're all just kind of... Scary to think we're kind of all just one bad decision away from that. That's true, because the Melbourne was destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah. I think about that literally all the time.
Riker knew.
Inside job.
He knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, even when I hear stories about people dying, in tragic ways, like a car accident or whatever, and you just think to yourself like, oh, if they had just hit a red light, or if they had just stopped at the store, or didn't stop at the store, or whatever. It's like just nuts to think about, but it also gives me a sense of peace in that, we're on this timeline. Yes, I think we have free will, but at the end of the day, you're not going to know what any decision leads to, right? It's not like the choose your own adventure where you can peek ahead at what happens and go to the other choice. You know what I mean? So it's don't worry about it because it's going to happen. It's your choice.
Whatever happens. There's nothing you can do.
But it's more so crazy to think after the fact, in this scenario, oh, had he done that, he probably would have been dead. So, yeah. What do you think about how Picard's standing and reputation in Starfleet's going to be impacted after this? Probably not. I don't expect that to be addressed, really. I mean, what Starfleet? They all kind of died,
Does Starfleet even know about the Borg?
They do now, I would guess.
They do now, yeah. I don't know. I'm thinking my mind just flashed back to the end of First Man with Ryan Gosling.
Mm-hmm.
How he was in the containment period. Containment center. I feel like maybe there was a period where he was completely separated from everyone because we don't know what he's carrying with the whole Borg. I mean, it's futuristic now. They're probably able to just eliminate bacteria or diseases pretty easily, or even annihilation. When aren't they interviewing Oscar Isaac or something? And he's in a completely separate room, or Natalie Portman, and it's Wong, Benedict Wong. So what did you see?
The Battle of Wolf 359 was when Starfleet turned the corner, abandoning the ideas that made the service fat, dumb, and happy for the last 70 years or so. Well, there you go. I mean, I guess that makes sense. There were obviously threats, but it didn't seem... every time the Enterprise had a threat, deal with it. Starfleet's not helping you. This time they tried to help and got all destroyed, so maybe they shouldn't have.
The Borg cube spontaneously exploded while charging their batteries. Clearly the Borg at some point assimilated a Tesla.
Woo!
Goddamn!
Shots fired at Tesla.
Suck it, Elon. Sorry.
I do think that Teslas have gotten a little more normal looking, but the Cybertruck, Ugh.
Yeah, it's like, calm down.
Dude, when I see that, I'm like, bro, are we in Fortnite? What's going on? Like, My one big critique of this episode is that I wish Riker gave the opening Space the Final Frontier speech instead of Picard. Really hammer the fact that he might actually be lost. Yeah, we talked about that in the reaction. I think, different time, but yeah, the whole, like, buy into your gimmick, buy into what you're doing, make me believe what you're doing so I don't have to, like, excuse it.
Right. One of the best examples is when Brock Lesnar took over Monday Night Raw in 2011, and the intro was just Brock Lesnar. like Brock Lesnar featuring, Monday Night Raw featuring Brock Lesnar, and, the we're going out tonight, whatever it was.
Yeah, just all Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, it's like stuff like that's fun. I get it. It probably costs money, but it's like, have some balls. No, I'm kidding.
WWE example on the other side, when John Cena gets fired by the Nexus after not helping Wade Barrett win the championship, and then the next week on Raw, he shows up backstage beating up the Nexus, and you can clearly see he's wearing a mic. And it's like, oh, well, I guess he's not actually fired, wearing a microphone. There was a criticism of the episode's resolution, saying it was unrealistic for the Enterprise crew to plant a flaw in the Borg collective. As a tech professional in security, I see advanced systems with basic vulnerabilities daily. I thought the ending was great. In the early days of computers without antivirus software and limiting networking, security exploits were new and complex. This was advanced for 1990 pop culture.
Yeah, even today, I remember going to safety meetings and just like a guy would just walk into a business and like infiltrate their company like super easily. So it does make sense, especially when you think you're like the top of the top. Because remind me, the whole data, plug it in, right? That's the whole how they got inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, today, granted, we're not, 400 years in the future. Like, huge companies are hacked, like, all the time.
Literally all the time.
All the time. And this, yeah.
Or just go down. And, like, you think of, like, the thing that's always fascinating me more so is the idea of, like, servers crashing. That's always gotten me, because it's like Disney Plus launched, right, in 2019, and like their servers instantly crashed, and it barely worked the first day. And people are like, you're fucking Disney, you have trillions of dollars, like how would your servers crash? And basically, this is just from what I read on Twitter at the time, like basically people in technology came out and said, hey, listen, it doesn't matter, like technology is technology and where we're at, any server can crash. Mm-hmm. And it's just like interesting to think of it that way, because like in our simple-headed, brains, we're like, oh, money means you have better technology, which it does to an extent. But it's like at the end of the day, we're at where we're at.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, good point. Isn't it the theory that the military is like, 10 years ahead of us in technology or whatever?
Which I think is pretty much bullshit, but for the most part.
I think we peaked in like 70.
Yeah, whenever the UFO in Roswell came down and gave us Velcro, that's when we peaked.
They gave us Velcro.
Velcro and laser pointers.
That's when we reached the top. Yeah, you can have all the servers you want, but we're only as far as we as far. And yeah, that is a good point. And one of my biggest gripes about myself is complaining about something saying whatever year it is. It's 2024, really?
Oh, I do that all the time.
I do. It's one of my least favorite things about myself. It's like, I got to quit doing that.
Why?
Like, I don't know. It's like, because I've been doing it for years.
It's true, though. It continues to be true. So many simple things that you're like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is true, but it feels like an old reliable that I need a better...
You need to retire it?
Yeah.
And move on?
Yeah, it's like, have a better argument for why things suck, I guess.
Yeah, that's
Instead of like, oh, what year it is.
As someone who routinely runs jokes into the ground, I did that with COVID, absolutely, where there's a period of time where it's like anything wrong that went bad, I'd be like, oh, COVID.
COVID.
Yeah. Oh, only one cashier working. COVID, I guess, but I just, did it too much and I had to stop.
Yeah. But will any of our bad jokes or takes ever run into the ground?
What was great was we started this channel and no one knows us. So we've just been doing all of our, overdone bad jokes from our whole life. And it's new to them and some of them like it. So I think it works out.
And a lot of them are really sick of us already.
Imagine us in real life.
Another TNG episode, now in the books. Did TA hate it, or did they get hooked? Will they ever get it? We may never know.
go! TNG Season 4, let's go! Warp speed! Engage, engage! Warp speed! Engage, engage! Warp speed! Engage, engage! Warp speed! Let's go! Talking over dialogue, laughing at odd times. You may get bothered, but TA feels sublime. They tear into your favorites, they love ones you hate. Yet you can't get enough of the reactions they make. They pause for big moments and make clever jabs. One half of the scene they will always yap. They've been at this for years with many more to come. Join this journey, set your phaser to stun. Warp speed! Engage, engage! Warp speed! Engage, engage! Warp speed! Engage, engage! Warp speed! Let's go! Let's go!
And I'm gonna try to say it all. It's only gonna be like 5 to 10 seconds of dialogue. Yeah, I'll be like, what?
Josh and Alex in cosmic time! Warp speed! Engage, engage! Warp speed! Engage, engage! Warp speed! Engage, engage! Warp speed! Let's go!
Here we go, guys. We are starting Star Trek: The Next Generation, Season 4, in 3, 2, 1, go. We don't have our headphones on. It's like just always something.
I knew something was missing. I'm like, we are starting way too fast here.
We got a last time.
Is that Marjorie Blair?
That picture looks terrible. That's not gonna work. Okay, where's the TV remote?
Oh, you're gonna switch it to
I gotta change something. That's for sure. That's Majel Barrett's voice.
You stole it from me, huh?
You're gonna say that?
I did say it.
Oh, you said it last time. We had a cut. We didn't do it correctly. My bad.
No, it's all right.